Alright, what is up, my entertainment junkies? And we are back with the American Hate Train. Why do Europeans dislike Americans so much?
The Americans?
I think it's third world country will love money. Very negative.
Very negative.
Yeah.
Wait, did she just call Britain, Europe, third world country?
I'm asking questions about how Europeans see Americans.
I think it's third world country will love money. Very negative.
Very negative.
Yeah, I don't see anything
Aw.
for America.
Fuck
I think
you.
they're a bit stupid. American
Fair.
TikTokers, they earn too much money with what they do. Like in Belgium, you have to work for money and they just make videos and that's...
Okay. Outside of the very, very high ones, both in terms of stats and mental state probably, most TikTokers have an actual job. A lot of YouTubers have actual jobs and actual business ventures. They don't make all their money from YouTube and sponsors.
Oh my god. You know, I might be completely wrong about this, but I think it was a little bit cooler to be American when I was a kid. I've lived in Europe for several years now, and look, I've romanticized this continent quite a bit. I really like living here, but there's a funny feeling that I cannot shake, and I think it has to do with how Europeans view Americans, or how Europeans view me
They hate us because they ain't us.
when they discover that I'm American. And it's not entirely positive. This feeling has not gone away even though I've been here for a few years now. And it's not hatred, it's more like negative undertones, offhand comments or jokes that are made, and it makes me feel not very cool.
Suck it up. Grow thick skin. Because no matter where you go, people are going to make offhand comments about things that you love. Well, I live in America, and Americans freaking make fun of each other.
And by the way, I recognize not all Europeans dislike Americans. That is a massive generalization. But I'm bringing this up because it's been enough of a trend for me to confidently talk about this as something that's really happening in the world. I don't think it's just in my head. It just seems like when it comes to Europeans' view of Americans, there's a lot to dislike. I don't necessarily entirely disagree. I have plenty of my own criticisms about the United States and the way of life over there. And I think that all places, all societies merit criticism. That's how we get better. So this applies to everyone. But there's something deeper going on here that I want to explore. On a personal level, my own identity as an American, but also the identity of Americans on the global stage. We don't live in a bubble, and it turns out the whole world has opinions about us. Now, I have my own theories about what's going on here, but I thought I'd get to the root of the matter and ask Europeans themselves. It makes me a little bit nervous talking this straight.
In terms of their governments, they have eyes on us because we are the only true superpower in the world as of right now. Their people, I don't understand why their people care so much about our fucking politics and shit. Unless they have actual voting rights and voting rights, as in their dual citizenships, stay the fuck out of our business and our politics. Hell, I won't say stay out of it, but don't judge us for what we choose. Because we don't judge y'all based on whatever your politician's dumb shit is, like your hate speech laws. We just let you do whatever you want. Until some stupid governor, one of your stupid politicians, say he's gonna extradite people from the United States for breaking European hate speech laws.
Dangerous, but I'm just gonna go for it. What are the stereotypes?
That's a good question. Moi, quand je pense aux Américains, je pense à la bouffe et tout.
Dans quel sens? Le fast food?
No,
Okay.
what did I say?
That's a good question. Moi, quand je pense aux
And when I think Americans, I think of their food.
à la bouffe et tout.
Fair!
Dans quel sens? Le fast food? Okay.
Yeah, fair.
McDo, mais les Français adorent McDo.
Oui, on était il y a 2 minutes.
Donc c'est pas forcément négatif ça.
Non, non.
Ok,
Mais c'est l'image. Actually,
Ah.
ok.
mais c'est l'image. Actually, I like Americans because they are.
Sens. Le fast food.
Fast food,
McDo.
McDonald's, the
Mais
hamburgers.
les Français adorent McDo.
Oui, on était il y a 2 minutes.
Donc c'est pas forcément négatif ça.
Non, non.
Ok.
Mais c'est l'image. Actually, I like Americans because they.
Oh yeah, we think America's of their food, their fast food. That's what we think America is. Did you go to McDonald's? Yeah, we were there just there 2 minutes ago. Just because it started here, don't mean that it freaking it's the same everywhere. And I can guarantee you that your McDonald's is way better than ours.
Are like very chilled. America is like so expensive for good food.
No, no. Well, a little bit right now, but no. Where I don't know where this is from. And they keep saying German, so I'm guessing Germany or somewhere in that area. We get food, we get portion sizes that can last us that can last us a meal and a half. Our food's not expensive, we just get a lot of it.
Like
Yeah.
for like fruits and all this fresh stuff, it's like so expensive.
J'ai deux visions un peu.
Ok.
J'ai la version où ils sont
Too much. There are two versions where hillbilly.
beauf américain.
Somebody had to say it.
Do you think the stereotypes about Americans are true?
Kind of. I have a classmate that is American, and we are talking like about our traditional foods. And the American was like, my typical food is hamburger, ice cream, like the McDonald's one. And we are like, oh, so McDonald's is your typical food? She was like, yeah, kind.
Don't let that speak for everybody, because if you're from Memphis, you're gonna have a lot of Memphis, you're gonna have a lot of barbecue. Texas, you're gonna have a lot of cookout. Freaking Louisiana, you're gonna have a lot of seafood and Cajun food. Our typical food is not McDonald's. That is probably a growing percentage, but a smaller percentage of people who actually eat food.
Could I just take a couple minutes to ask you a couple questions? It's okay if you don't have time, sir. Okay, all good. Have a nice day. The Americans don't have time for me. that's kind of funny. Would you mind if I asked you a couple questions?
Yeah.
Well, you were talking to somebody who was physically walking towards another direction, not carrying. Which means he probably had something to do. You go to someone sitting down not really doing anything. Hey.
In the Netherlands, do younger people feel the same way or differently about American?
I think even stronger.
Even stronger. Okay.
Yeah, the older people are still maybe thinking of the World War II, World War I, which the Americans did a very good job
Yeah.
by helping because Europe was not doing very well.
Yeah.
Ils connaissent que ce qui se passe dans leur pays.
Ouais, ouais.
Parce que fermés sur eux-mêmes.
Closed off.
C'est-à-dire que c'est pas pour eux, mais qu'ils s'intéressent pas trop aux autres pays.
They know.
That's... They don't care about other countries. You know how often I see shit about Ukraine and Hamas and Russia on the news nowadays?
About their own country, but not about.
Okay, I'm also gonna have to say this again. Our country is 50 different countries. One of our states is as big as most of your countries. And I'm not just talking about our biggest state of Alaska is just as big as some of your countries. Most of our states are as big as some of your countries. We have 50 different countries to worry about. We have a whole continent of our own. Actually, we do have a whole continent. We know Canada. We know Mexico. We know a lot of cities in Mexico. We know a lot of provinces in Canada. We know all of our states. We know popular sites and historical sites in our states. It's like us saying that you don't know anything because you only know all of Europe. No. Stop with this shit about we don't know about the world. You wouldn't know either if you had to learn all about Europe and some.
Like other stuff in the world, they're overrated.
They're overrated. How? Like, they receive too much attention?
Yeah, too
She
much
hate us because she ain't us.
internet.
Are you also German?
Yes,
And in Germany, you feel like German people have a positive view of Americans? Or
not really.
no? Okay, so more negative.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you feel that there's been a change at all in terms of how Americans are viewed?
Actually, I have to think about that because Germany does have speech laws, and you can get thrown in jail for mentioning Nazis and Hitler and swastika. So, how do they teach World War II in Germany?
Viewed, like in the last 10, 15 years?
I think so, yes. Especially due to the Trump and the Tea Party things happening. It got more polarized, but it made it more negative in my view.
No, the internet is just making things
Why
more...
I believe this.
Okay. I can guarantee you that things are not more polarized than they've ever been. It's just that the internet came out and gave all these idiots a voice worldwide to make it seem like it's more polarized. It is the loudest minority, the smallest minority has the loudest voice. Don't let these idiots speak for us. We just don't care enough to fight back because we've been dealing with them for freaking ever. We just tune them out.
Dynamic is happening, why Europeans see Americans in this way. But before I do, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, which is BetterHelp. And look, therapy is a really powerful tool when it comes to anything and everything identity related.
How old is this video?
absolutely love living abroad. I wouldn't exchange it for the world.
1 year ago,
It
sweet.
has come with its own. All right.
Again, if the video's new, I'm not going to skip the ads. If the video's old, I will do.
Time for me to share some of my own personal theories here. Here's why I think it was maybe a little bit cooler to be American in the past. I was born in the 90s, maybe like some of you.
Woo!
In the 90s,
90s
it's not
kid.
Like the United States or the
Yu-Gi-Oh!
world for that matter, didn't have its problems. It definitely did. You're not gonna get any of that classic, nostalgic, those were the days kind of thing from me. But one thing I think we can all agree on is that back in the 90s, the internet had not yet completely taken over our lives like it has now. And in my view, the internet feels like it's taken whatever problems already existed and made them bigger and louder. That might actually be what the
They didn't make them bigger, they just made them more obvious for everybody.
internet is best at, the fast transmission of ideas and information, which in turn amplifies them. And there's another thing that the internet is really good at, which is that it is a canvas for less curated or filtered versions of that information or ideas. There are less gatekeepers, so anyone can.
Yeah, that can be both good and bad because, on one hand, all these people who are being silenced and not given a voice and they couldn't tell their own truths, they were being held back. On the other hand, these people who just look up a hot headline saying, "Oh, Cuba is so great because of free health care," they go, "Oh, then Cuba is better than America because we don't have free health care." And then they go around thinking that America sucks, not knowing that all the brutal dictatorial shit that goes on in Cuba. It's like, hell, just like North Korea, we don't know much about what goes on in North Korea because they completely shut themselves out. All we know is what defectors told us. And that's obviously going to be a biased take on it, which means we can't really get the truth because North Korea won't open up, so we kind of have to take the defectors' word on it. So yeah, dude, North Korea is like the perfect version of the good and the bad of it. It's like the shit that defectors have said is horrifying. Like, no. But they're also going to be biased. And since North Korea doesn't let their citizens or anybody speak out, we can't get the whole truth.
Say anything. My theory is that as time has gone on, and as the internet has played a bigger and bigger role in our lives, the world has been exposed to a less curated version of the United States. You know, you had movies and TV and pop music reaching the entire world, but it wasn't like it is today with social media and even the news reaching so many more people. Nowadays, it feels like
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Only about like 10 to 20 people, or 20% of Americans get popular enough on social media to get seen around the world. And they are not the... They are the anomalies. We do not all act like them. We do not all like what they like or agree with them.
you cannot escape the news about mass shootings that are constantly happening in the U.S. or the insane election cycles. I think in some ways the internet might have taken away some of our innocence, right? Some of our naivete, as it
Where is it? United States makes up 33% of the combined population of these 36 countries. However, it also accounts for 76% of... Okay, I'm going to have one big thing about this. I know what that stat comes from. That is not correct. Alright. I'm trying to find the freaking right one. Countries similar to the United States have also increased in rise, attack, yada yada. Where's this graph? Alright, I'm going to tell you where this stat comes from. Everything that involves shooting... Mass shootings are not defined in America. Anything... How the hell does Germany have mass shootings? Whatever. Anything that includes a firearm hitting more than 2 or more people to some is considered a mass shooting. That's hitting, not even killing. You know what that also means? Gang violence is a mass shooting. If they did that with... Mexico's not even on this list. If we did that with Mexico, where every gang violence, every, what are their... cartel shooting was a mass shooting, freaking Mexico would be way above the United States. Stop this. So I have to actually find the... Let's say shooting is 4. Shootings... Unless they're talking about over 10 years, which is still too high. Mass shootings involving 4 or more victims. Here's one that does 4 more victims. Be prepared, yada yada. Aftermath. Oh, it doesn't tell me any statistics. Fucking great. Alright. Annotation. Any incident, at least 4 people are murdered with a gun. Whoa, that's actually... What the fuck? I'll do a video on mass shooting some other day.
result.
And it's going to be a compilation of a lot of different views on it because...
Even more curated versions of culture, like the highly produced TV shows and movies, are reflecting the things that we're seeing. The unintelligent or simple American is a very believable archetype and not a new one. you've got at least one, and often more than one character that perfectly fits that archetype.
Mr.
Pretty much all
Bean.
American sitcoms, from Friends to How I Met Your Mother, and there are plenty of shows that play off of this very intentionally. I think of South Park, Family Guy, and The Simpsons. And internationally, the contrast is even more stark. And it might just be me, but it does feel like the perception of Americans is deteriorating. I mean, I'm thinking about shows like Emily in Paris or The White Lotus. The White Lotus in particular blew me away because it felt so believable and oftentimes in a very depressing way. Clearly, Americans are not known for being refined or in touch with reality. This is particularly true of Americans. And why wouldn't Europeans feel this way? We are famously terrible at learning foreign languages. To many, we're seen as living in our own giant bubble.
A lot of people beforehand used to think like the US was like very cool and this really lovely place to go to, but I feel like everyone just thinks it's dangerous and that they don't care about their citizens. There's all these shootings going on, like their healthcare is horrible, their schools, school is horrible.
Alright, no, I do have to agree with you there. Public schools are horrible. Don't disagree. They don't care about our citizens. I can't really say this. It's only certain areas that don't, because they don't keep their prisoners locked up for, and I'm not talking about just Mary Sue stole some bread to feed her family. I'm talking about John Gary killed 3 people. They don't keep them locked up. So, only certain areas. And then, what was it? It was education,
It was like very
dangerous.
cool and this really lovely place to go to, but I feel like everyone just thinks it's dangerous.
Now, if you're talking about the animals, granted, but if you're anywhere around where those animals will get you, you're just going to be somebody with a gun that will shoot the animal down. And then there's Australia that's more dangerous than us. If you're talking about the people, stay out of big cities, and you will be fine.
And that they don't care about their citizens. There's all these shootings going on, like their healthcare is horrible, their schools, school is horrible.
Oh yeah, and healthcare, no, our healthcare is amazing. It's just expensive.
So there's been a change.
I think it's always been like that. I think there's a change now because like the social media is like.
Okay, I also have to say about this. Negativity gets clicks. You always hear about all these divorces and whatever. You never hear about old grandma and grandpa who died together, happily married. No, because that doesn't get that many clicks. But what does get clicks? Oh, Mary Jane just cheated on Peter Parker with Chad Thundercock. That gets views because people like negativity. The negative parts about America are gonna outshine, even if they are gonna overshadow the good parts, even if they are less. Just like Germany was the first thing that people think about when they think about Germany, it's the Nazis. Or the first thing that people think about with the French is either Napoleon Bonaparte or white flags. Suck it. Or, okay, this one's actually from an American perspective because I don't know many things that the British did other than Bloody Mary. But the British, what do we think about 1776, motherfucker? Come get some. Japan, what do we think about 9/11? China, communism. Russia. We still think about the USSR and Vladimir Putin, even though the USSR disbanded and Russia's its own thing. Even though it still kind of acts like the USSR. But yeah, people will always see the bad side of you because that's what gets more attention. They never see the good.
Making it more apparent.
America used to be, you know, like the American dream, like used to be a big thing. Like gun crime is getting like publicized a lot more, so I think like the narrative's changing a little bit.
Negativity gets quick. Let me see, it's capitalist. If you have money, you live well. No, if you don't have money, you can still live well. It just takes a bit of work and a little bit of time. That's bullshit. We have homeless shelters. Oh, especially if you're a fucking woman. I don't even want to get into that. But if you don't have them, we have homeless shelters. The only reason we don't give money to homeless anymore is because there's been too many people who have pretended to be homeless because they didn't want to work and they had their own home and they wanted a little bit of pocket change. So and if you're homeless, we will give you food. We are not against helping you. There are way too many ways we have helped you. But the ones that you see that are so bad, they either don't want to be helped, want to stay homeless, or they are scamming people and are not really homeless.
In France, we say the Americans are big and fat, but I love America with the friends, the sorry friends.
Donc il y a des côtés positifs et des côtés négatifs.
Out of curiosity,
C'est ça, exactement. Globalement,
French, like, I don't even know about this because I don't even know. I've never looked at obesity rates. French obesity rate, 47.3%. United States, 41. What the fuck, France? You can't say that shit. You have a higher obesity rate than we do. God damn it, France. Don't be talking shit if you don't have it, you can't back it up.
ça, mais en même temps, tout le monde va à New York et tout le monde va aux États-Unis.
Oui, d'accord, ok.
C'est ça.
New York into the
Tu sais,
US.
Ils ont des préjugés, mais en même temps, c'est quand même un rêve d'y aller.
J'étais absolument ulcérée quand Trump était au pouvoir. De
Not getting into politics.
Le comportement de cet homme, ça donne pas envie d'aller forcément dans ces conditions-là. Le fait que les gens sont très très armés, j'ai l'impression que je me sentirais pas en sécurité.
Most people
Nice.
love Canadians.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you clarify you're Canadian, they're
Yeah.
like,
They're like, oh, Canada. Where are you from in Canada?
For me, it's like a lot about the money. Like the times I went to New York, and it's like, you know, winners and losers, and you know, you gotta make it, and you gotta make loads of money, and la la la, and then like if you don't have money, you're like basically fucked.
No.
extremes.
It's like an extreme, you know, country. Like very very rich, very very poor. Eat very much, eat very 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 healthy, like
Yeah.
extreme healthy, extreme
Yeah.
like XXXL and McDonald's,
Yeah.
whatever.
Where are you from?
England.
Perfect. So I'm doing a video on Europeans' view of Americans.
Okay.
I don't know if you have
We're
any
not
opinions about that.
European.
So, okay.
No, we're not. We left the EU.
Do you feel
What the fuck? You go around saying that Americans are stupid. You don't even know that the EU, the same country that you're in, is in Europe. No! God damn it. Highlight these idiots more. From other countries, highlight them so that you know that it's not only an American thing. It's that these people, there are just idiots out there. Jesus fucking Christ.
feel like it's a more positive or a negative view of Americans?
I'd say negative. I feel like there's a lot going on there that's just been
Ugh.
words.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we need to
I'm calm down.
move along.
Yeah.
The like you know all the abortion laws coming in
So
and
politically.
yeah like all the gun crimes
Yeah.
things like that. Like I imagine
Gun crimes are not as bad as they make it seem.
Also just a little bit off for me.
Okay, I'm gonna put it this way. They say, from the gun crimes that they say, and I've heard them, they say 3 million people die a day from guns. By that logic, in like 111 days, America would be wiped itself out because we would be out of people. And don't say I'm exaggerating because I've heard a lot of people say 1 million people die a day from guns.
I struggle with that.
I agree, but I do think you're all like proper chatty and that, and you're really energetic.
Yeah.
So it's a positive thing.
Yeah,
It's
but I
lovely
also
to
agree
meet.
with that as well.
Yeah.
It's lovely to meet Americans.
Yeah.
Love meeting Americans.
Okay, so why am I so interested in this topic? Well, over the last few years, I have shared my journey moving abroad and looking for a home. Because that home is not the United States. I just don't feel connected to that country. Not as a home, even though I'm coming to realize that it did shape me in many ways. I'm just trying to find my place, but as I've said before, different people will treat you in different ways based off of how they perceive you. The first time I experienced this was during my high school exchange in France when I was 16 years old. Obama was president, and regardless of your personal political opinions or feelings, he was seen in a generally positive light abroad. So in a weird way, even though I was not responsible for electing him, I wasn't even of age to vote, that scored me some cool points. And then on top of it, 16-year-old French kids living in a small town in the west of France thought it was cool that I rode a yellow bus to school and that I had my own personal locker in the United States.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. People don't understand. There's a lot of people in Europe that don't know that yellow bus is not just a movie thing and that's not a real thing. For Europeans, yes, most schools use a yellow school bus to take their kids to school. It's not just a movie trope.
So I was benefiting from all these things that I didn't really control at all. Then I get to Argentina a few years later, and I see what it's like to be on the flip side, where the general sentiment was more negative. I'm generalizing here, but there's a bit of an anti-American streak in Argentina. And I think this comes down to the image that the United States has.
I kind of don't blame
Che
them.
Guevara is a bit of an anti-American, anti-capitalist symbol, right? So that was a very different experience, and now I'm back in Europe, and I've been here for a while, and the perception has changed yet again.
90% of the Dutchmen think Trump is quite strange.
Yeah.
They think
That's fair.
Republicans are also quite strange.
That's fair.
The Americans are very Puritan.
This might just be me, but I do feel like the image of Americans has deteriorated a little bit over the last 10 years. That might come down to the government that's currently in power. It might come down to social media. This is a very complex thing.
I can actually guarantee you I know what it is. It's because Hollywood hasn't been able to put out anything good in like 10 years. Because America's main export is entertainment. If we don't put out good movies, then that's actually going to affect our view.
So I can't point to a single reason, but it's definitely a feeling that's there. Now, on a personal level, before I realized that this was going on, I was kind of unintentionally overcompensating. I felt like I needed to show that I wasn't the out-of-touch American in Europe. And the same thing happened.
And that makes you an out-of-touch
where I
American
was
in Europe.
Speaking with as much slang as I possibly could that I picked up over there, even when it was just way too much, when it was inappropriate. Esa pao, boludo, está re piola, vive mal, mal. Why was I acting like that? Was there a deeper need within me to be accepted by the people that I am surrounded by? To me, it's a little bit cringy to behave that way because it's overcompensating for something, which in this case was the identity that people were associating with me. Whatever it was, the out-of-touch, stupid American, or whatever it might be. But that's actually a me problem, not a problem with the world. I've come to realize that people can think whatever they want about you. It doesn't change who you are. If people see me as yet another dumb American, it doesn't mean that's true. And also, it doesn't mean all Americans are that way. I think we
Alright,
know.
yep, listen to him. Stop giving a fuck what people... The only people who you should care what think about you are your family, if you're close to them, your friends, if... Well, actually, with your friends, if they're just gonna be with you based on who you are, so not even your friends. The only person whose opinion you should think about is your significant other, whenever that applies. And your family if you're close, but that's about it. Don't give a fuck about what society thinks, because society will hold you back.
We all know that individuals don't necessarily follow the stereotypes, but it's also how people operate in a world of 8 billion people. I can't blame people for having formulated an idea about the place that I'm from, considering how much culture is exported from that place. A part of me used to try to distance myself as much as possible from anything and everything American.
Wait,
But
I thought America didn't have culture. How are we exporting culture if we don't have culture? I'm playing stupid, but I'm sick of these arguments about America being so bad because they don't have culture or shit.
the point is that at least some part of me, some piece of me, has been influenced by my upbringing there. There are a lot of things I don't like, but there are some things that I do. It's genuinely being very enthusiastically excited about simple things is the dumb American thing to do.
I can guarantee you, he went from living into a city, big city in America, and only living in big cities in America. He did not try to move into more rural areas, and so all he knows is big cities, and he doesn't like the big city. He but so he just thinks he doesn't like living in America. Try living in a rural America.
Then fine, maybe I'm a dumb American sometimes, because that is something that comes naturally to me.
Hey, at least you know America is in
Myself
in North
accept the
America.
consequences, then try to be someone that I'm not. And you know what? Everyone wants to feel welcome wherever they are, and especially in their home. But the reality is that that's actually a luxury, not a given. So many immigrants in the United States were never made to feel that way, despite the fact that the country benefited tremendously from all the immigration, all the people that risked their lives to go build something over there. Honestly, I don't have it that bad. Who am I kidding? I don't have it bad at all. It could be so much worse, and oftentimes it is. Exploring this topic has really given me quite a bit of empathy for the immigrants that are very poorly received all around the world. So, what do you think about everything I just shared here? What is your perception of Americans, or of Europeans towards Americans? I would be curious to hear, because this is a giant open-ended topic, and
Well, I can't say one thing. At least he has an open mind about things. So, thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.